morning, happy new month, and welcome to another episode of Gold TV. Yeah, so this is Coach Oge Passion, and we have amazing people in the house. We are going to be discussing about a topic, the role of assistive devices for people with disability. Yeah, so before we go into that, we want to say thank you to our online viewers, our supporters, those who have been tuning in to watch our broadcasts. We appreciate you all. And we also appreciate all your support, yes, to us. Yes, thank you so much. And I believe we've been getting value from our discussion so far. If you have questions or contributions, you can always put in the comments. We appreciate you. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at this topic, the role of assistive devices for people with disability, how it impacts, how it help improve the lives of people with disability, assistive devices. So when we talk about assistive devices, what are we in a nutshell talking about? It's just like tools or technology or adaptive, devices or equipments that help PWDs, people with disability, to be able to move better and carry out their roles in the society much better. You understand? So that is what assistive devices are. So we have people in the house. We are going to be digesting this topic together. Yeah, so we have Osaki in the house. Okay, we're going to get to introduce ourselves. So let me give access to people so that they can introduce themselves. Over to you, Osaki.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies. I know you want to call me first. It's okay. I remain Osaki Teresa George Taria. I reside in River State, One precisely. I'm a polio warrior, a freelancer, and a partner. I'm a member of Gold TV and a co-host. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you very much, Oge Passion.
Okay, thank you so much. Afyong, please introduce yourself.
All right. Good morning, lovely people out there. Thank you for joining us once again. My name is Afyong Etum. I am a medical lab scientist by day, a co-host on Gold TV. I am a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. I'm based in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, and I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Coach Oge Passion, and I'm a health and business consultant. I'm an above-knee amputee. I'm residing in Makurdi, Benue State. So, welcome once again to our speakers, and we are looking at this topic, the role of assistive devices as it helps or impacts people with disability, as it helps to improve the life of people with disability. So over to you, Afyong. What do you think is assistive devices? Assistive devices. Thank you.
Okay. Like you earlier stated in your introduction, assistive devices, or as I prefer to call assistive devices or technology, refers to those equipments and those devices that help persons with disabilities to integrate and also access opportunities. Helps them with in terms of mobility, helps them in terms of accessing equipment, like you would have your accessibility features on the phones that help people with visual impairments, and also you have your wheelchairs for persons with mobility impairment or crutches. So these are devices that help persons with disabilities live a more productive life. It improves their quality of life.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So your network seems hanging, but I got the information. Yeah. So that's what assistive devices are. As people with disability, we need gadgets, we need tools to aid movement. Yes, and depending on the kind of disability, you need to get the disability gadgets. That's the assistive gadgets that suits your kind of disability, that suits your kind of personality. You understand? And so these things are very important if we want to make life easier, faster, and better for ourselves to improve the quality of our lives. Yes, okay, so let's go on to look at the role of assistive devices for PWDs. Saki, I would want you to share with me. I know there have been a lot of experiences, encounters you have had with PWDs in the past. How do you think these assistive devices have played very good roles in order to help people with disability?
Okay, thank you very much, Okay. Okay, I think I have a good experience because all through my life I've lived with a disability. So that's like 4 decades. So I have a lot to say. But let me start with myself. I think one of the role and very key importance I enjoyed because of my assistive device is confidence. It gives me this confidence and support. Like when I was younger, I used what we call calipers. Calipers are stripes that is attached to the legs, for people that have polio. So it gives you this stability that with the calipers you can move faster. You have this confidence. Even when a breeze is blowing, you can stand as maybe a force comes along your way. You can even struggle with the person. So that confidence, that support, that independence. Because when we were younger, some of us would drop their crutches and use their calipers and run around and walk fast and do everything. That was a very good support for us. Now, getting older, because of the way it was then, we couldn't really get it the way we used to get when we are younger. So part of it is that one, it gives us this confidence and also a support and independence for us to move with our kind of disability. And also for the persons I met along the line in life that had vision impaired, I think when they're with their cane, the cane is a supportive system to them. They can go to wherever they want to go. And if someone without disability sees someone with cane, you know that this is their walking cane. You know that, okay, this person needs help, person has a sight problem. So you'll be able to assist the person and see what you can. So it's like an indicator. Most times, anywhere I go to, when you see my crutches, I think your reasoning with difference, whether good or bad, but it changes your mentality. It's an indicator of these persons we need an assistance or we need a better attention. And also the last one I would say is that it's another ways of learning. Just for persons with vision impaired too, for them to have this their braille and also increase the font in their computer system, all of that. And also for voice notes for my hearing impaired, for that there are already speech notes or speech text that could assist them, voice notes for them to text, all these texts, for them to see whatever that is being said. So those are the few things I can say when it comes to the role in assistive device. It has been so helpful and it's so very necessary. It makes our life more easy to flow with. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for throwing your thoughts on this, because we all know that these assistive devices being of benefit to us. We can't say otherwise, you understand? So it has really been impactful to us because it helps our mobility, our movements around, making it easier. Not every time you are telling someone, please help me bring this, please help me bring that. If you have a prosthetic limb like me, or you have a good wheelchair like Freki or Afyong, or you understand, or a cane, you understand, it makes it easier. Like Tommy Singh, I believe she has a cane, or you have a braille. You see, communication is even easier. Or you have a good phone that is good for visually impaired people. You don't need people to start helping you to check what is on your phone. So all these things are assistive devices. They enhance your mobility, increase your independence. You have a greater participation in the community. People don't even see your disability again. In fact, at times people don't even see my disability, especially when they enter my car, I'm driving, they're coming. I'm the only person with disability, but they are all excited, like, is this for real? Like a person with disability driving them, and they have two hands, so they don't even know how to drive. So you see, it makes us to be able to participate better, and then of course we have a better quality of life because you're thinking positive and you're making progress in life. Yeah, so that's amazing. I don't know if Freki is in the house. If she is, I would want her to share some
No,
of her experience.
she's not available.
Okay. Afyong, please, you can also share your experience with these gadgets.
Okay. So assistive devices, like I said before, improve the quality of life for persons with disability. It empowers them. It empowers them, by helping them. It's a key. It's a key ingredient, a key requirement for independence. Any person with disability that needs to become more independent requires assistive devices, because you need it to get you from point A to point B. If you're an amputee, it can be hard. You're not going to hop on one leg, or using one arm can be, we know how difficult that can be. So you will need with the assistive device, you can get a prosthetic leg or prosthetic arm. It enhances your productivity. You can do more, and you can, perform better. It gives you a better chance, when your opportunities come up, because you're not. It minimizes. It limits. When you show up as someone who is capable and your independence, is very visible and everybody can see it. It makes it easier for people to, give you opportunities, because they're like, okay. Like you said, people come into your car, they see you driving, and they're like, wow. If you didn't have a prosthetic leg, that would be a bit difficult to actually, navigate. But with the use of your prosthetic leg, it makes it easier for you to go about and get your business done. It increases your independence. So I think basically assistive devices, it's a no-brainer. If you're a person with disability, it is a very necessary requirement to help you be able to move forward and reintegrate into society.
Yes, that's just it. We need assistance, and we can do this for ourselves. Yes, we must not always wait for people to help us. Yes, they can support us to see that these things are available. But as a human being, you need, because sometimes when they get to help you, it now becomes like you are a toy. It gets a point in helping when people will want to help me for virtually everything. And I ask them, please, am I a toy? Allow me to, feel this living like a human. I can do these things. It will take me just little more time. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. Yes, so assistive devices is a no-brainer, like you said. Yes. Okay, so let's quickly move on to the limitations of assistive devices. Other limitations, yes, of course, they help us a lot, but they may be one disadvantage or the other. Everything that has an advantage sure should have a disadvantage. So what do you think are the limitations of assistive devices? Osaki, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Oge. I think that one is a big practical part, especially when it comes to me. Like I was saying when I was younger, there's this thing we usually wear, it's called calipers. And the calipers we wear then, it was not just, it's a caliper but with rod. And then we were children, so it was easier for us and to walk with it. They were heavy and our legs were tiny. And we didn't spend money in getting them because we were under the care of the Reverend Sisters. So somehow, they provided for us and we are taught on how to use it. Now, growing up, after a while, we grew out of that stage. Like, we need a bigger one. And we are out of the Reverend Sisters' care. It was difficult. Nowhere to be found. And even if you find it, it's they don't even have the patience the way those Reverend Sisters had to manage with us. As in, now it's expensive, number one. And now too, because we are adults, we couldn't even manage. That time the thing we had was, you can't bend your legs will just be straight. And that was painful because the whole day we wear it as children. It's only in the night you can roll from your leg. It was not funny. But a child doesn't really understand pain that much of play. Play has a way of taking over everything. But as adults, you don't play anything. So you notice that something is wrong. So we couldn't get the type we wanted to get as adults. And the type of things are adults that you can bend them. They are not so... now they use, I think, a plastic, but a better plastic. Why when we were kids it was wood, but it was a plastic. And now these plastic ones, like where I stay, you can't even have it, except in Lagos. And in Lagos, you have to reside there. According to them, you have to stay for like 2 weeks to be in that hospital. You have to pay money, take care of yourself. and to even get it is not even funny. So the cost of this assistive device are not cheap any day, anytime. It's not cheap, very, very expensive. So we couldn't, most of us, just as we grew up, we stopped using it. And because we stopped using it, our mobility is difficult. I can't even walk certain distance I usually walk when I was a child. I can't even try it now. I can't even stand more than 5 minutes. That's even the worst part. But when I was wearing that stuff, I can stand for maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. But now, just 5-10 minutes, I'm done. I can't even stand, So those are the kind of challenges we, as people with polio, we are having. We can't walk far distance. You can't stand. You can only sit. And sitting is not enough, So except most of us now fall back into the wheelchair. The wheelchair is not even cheap either. The wheelchair is really expensive. And most of my friends, if you have this electronic wheelchair, where I stay currently, you cannot move because the roads are not tarred. The roads are still normal sandy, and they're stones, so they're not quota. So it's difficult because they're expensive and they're not easily afforded. You can't get it anywhere like that. Even in university where I am, they even have that electronic wheelchair. It's not even a no-go area. They have to get from Lagos or import. And many of us can afford that. That's a strong and a serious one. As for the crutches, they are there, but the crutches have different kinds. There's some crutches you use, the hand will break. So this crutches I'm using is an old ones I got from the White Reverend Sisters in them, and so at times managing them too is a problem because they have a way of maintenance. One of the things that I also skip was maintaining it too. Some of my friends that later got a calipers, currently there is no place for maintenance. When the buckles, and again, those calipers that you have to get a shoe to wear it is even a problem. So we had a challenge of maintenance culture because the people that maintained then for us as kids are nowhere to be found. So some of us had to learn how to maintain our own kind of mobility aid so that we can stick up. So maintenance culture is a serious problem. Even in wheelchair, I have a friend. There's this kind of tire they use in the front of their wheelchair. Whenever that tire in front gets back, she called it a particular name, I can't remember the name right now. There's a problem. We have to look all over bicycle repairers, everybody, just to see if they can fix that wheelchair front tire. So that's a serious problem whenever we have a challenge of assistive devices, and also the way on how to use them. Some of us don't know how to really use these things. We need to be taught. We need to take time to study and get used to all of that so that we can use it of our own effectiveness. So those are the few things I can say when it comes to limitation, because it's a serious challenge. And I'll just straight open that I wish the government will assist us when it comes to getting this stuff. I'm not saying give us for free. I'm saying just subsidize the price. Of course, most times when they don't do charity case, they'll say I'm bringing wheelchair. The wheelchairs they bring, my sister, is not wheelchair you can use. It's a lie. You cannot use it. They're not the type that someone with disability will want to use. They will not bring a wheelchair that you can even on your own. You can't even wheel yourself. Someone has to wheel you, and that's the problem. That's not a wheelchair to start with. So a lot of things that they do as charity, they should take time and study this, or let one of us go with them to the market to get that particular assistive device so that it can be used. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have said it all, oh. You have said it all. Most times when these people do charity, yes, they are trying to help us, but they are not really helping people. Just like you said, they don't give you good wheelchairs that you can even sit on. You might be able to use it for some time, but after a while, you begin to have issues with it. And how to get it repaired and all of that is an issue. Yes, even they do the same thing for prosthetic limb. There's some prosthetic limb you use, it will just damage your gait pattern. And when you later in the years get good ones, maybe God blesses you, you're able to get support and buy better ones. These things are like cars, different mix. You now find out that you are not able to fit in. Your gait is not, fitting properly. It becomes a problem. So it's like it has altered your gait pattern. So this is a concern. Yes. And again, another very important limitation is the social stigma. When we are able to raise these accessibility gadgets, and then we try to, get into the society, people begin to look at us in a way that is not nice. Some people, they just look down on you. Oh, this person has a disability. Oh, the person is using a wheelchair. Oh, the person is using an artificial limb, or a hand. They begin to segregate those kind of things. But sometimes too, it's also an opportunity for us, because it makes us stand out. Oh, this person needs help. Well-meaning Nigerians, well-meaning people in the society will say, okay, there is a person with disability in our midst. What is this person looking for here? I remember when I go to banks or all of these places and I want to do one or two, the moment people see me, especially with the crutches, they are concerned. What is Oge doing in their organization? They want to give all the assistance they can to ensure that I am taken care of. You understand? But for some people, they will look down on you, especially when you're not educated. It becomes a problem. You don't even know how to ask for help or ask for entrance into a place just because you are not well schooled. You don't know anybody, you stand in there, and these things can be, harmful to the person, because you may stay where you are and fall, one thing or the other. It becomes another sin again. So the social stigma part is what I wanted to talk about. Of course, these devices are not cheap. They are very expensive, and it's also not easy to manage. When you need to be going for adjustment. How much is adjustment? I'm supposed to go for adjustment for my prosthesis, but I'm supposed to be able to, put up some millions together to ensure that I can do it, because just to change the storm socks, the silicone, is about $700 as of last year. I asked, and of course, it will not be that same price now. So you need to, this is in dollars, so you need to have some good millions before you can say you're going for adjustment. It's not easy. Then before you start looking for the location, if you are not in a place where they have those things, you need to start looking at transportation, accommodation, and all that. It's not easy to be a person with disability if you must live a good life, but God will help us. Yes. So Afyong, I would like you to throw one or two lights on this before we call it a day. Thank you.
I think between the two of you have, covered the majority of the problems associated with using assistive devices. But, one thing we have to understand is that whether we like it or not, in spite of the difficulties, they are necessary. There's nothing we can do. We can't do without them. While we walk this path, while we are on this journey, they are a necessary accessory to help us, be able to move beyond where we are. And I mean that literally and figuratively. You need to be able to move beyond where you are. You can't go and look for employment if you're not able to get out of your house. You can't go from one place to another. You can't access opportunities if, the means of doing so, like for example, the technology, accessibility features on phones. If you're a person that is visually impaired, if there are online opportunities, especially in this, age of information and, digital literacy, if there are opportunities online, you may not be able to access it if the device you have does not have accessibility features, assistive technology to help you know what is there, what opportunities are available. If you're a person that has mobility impairment, you may not have a vehicle, but if you have an assistive device like a wheelchair, maybe you have an electronic wheelchair, or you have, a good pair of crutches that can help you move from one place to another, you can easily access transportation to wherever it is you are going. And then sometimes, especially if I can only speak, for those with wheelchairs, you notice that there are some means of transportation you can't even access. There are some means of transportation, so it adds to the financial burden. Because for someone like me, if it's not a taxi, I can't enter keke, which is like the cheapest form of transport. So I would have to get a taxi and most likely, charter a ride. Because if not, if I say I can't go and stand on the road and join people, where is the space? There may be no space for my wheelchair to be carried along.
Yes, that's true.
There may not be enough space. Like people deceive, it inconvenience me. So I can't even take keke. It's difficult unless you have somebody to help you. Unless you have somebody that is willing to help you, get inside, and then where is the space for the wheelchair inside the keke? So all of these things, make it difficult. But then, like I said, there's no other option.
We move.
You just have, that's where you learn how to adapt. You learn how to adapt. It's you're here. That's your current reality. So we learn how to adapt. Like you talked about your prosthesis, and it requires, you need to go and change it, make adjustments and all that. You call that $700 you're calling, it's not 700 naira. By the time you convert it to naira, that's some good money. That's more than 500K we are talking about. So when you think about that, okay, so you can imagine, about $1 million plus. So you can imagine the amount of money. So, there is a need, like Osaki said, we need help. If these devices can be subsidized, and if they are going to empower people with them, you don't just bring in, because like Osaki said, many of those wheelchairs, I've seen them, they are hospital grade wheelchairs. And even not that's Nigerian hospital grade, because I don't think that's what they use everywhere. Because there are some patients you would carry on those wheelchairs, your wheelchair will collapse. If you see some of the ones they have in the hospitals, the tires are worn out, they are riding on the rims. They are using the rims to ride. There are no tires. Some of them don't have foot pedals. The patient sits and the legs are dragging on the floor. So they are not durable. Most of those wheelchairs are meant for transportation, just taking someone from one point to another, but it's not for getting around. It's not for daily use. It's just meant to help somebody get from point A to point B. So they are not made to be durable. So that is what they usually bring in, and people are supposed to use for a long time. So rather than do those things, why not invest in good quality wheelchairs that they can use for years? And and if possible, see how we can set up maybe a rehabilitation center, because I don't think we don't have that here. A proper rehabilitation center that is equipped to help persons with disabilities to transition into, to help them be able to make the most of their lives, improve their quality of life. Like many people don't know how to move forward from disability. Some people are stuck. They've been stuck for a long time. So it's a huge problem. So the assistive devices themselves are not a problem, but it's accessing them and sometimes in the use of them that we encounter these problems. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done to help, help us cope with the problems that arise and also move forward.
Okay. You mentioned something very, very important. Rehabilitation centers is very important. If government can create rehabilitation centers, I think it will go a long way to help people, their mindset, their mentality. Because some people don't even have someone to share their experience with, share what they are passing through. Some people are already facing societal stigma. They can't even come out. You understand? But if there is a rehab center, I think it will help a lot for PWDs. Even if it's nothing you are giving to them, words of encouragement, the fact that they are seeing people like them trying to make progress, I think it will go a long way to help people. So thank you for mentioning that aspect. Yes. So this is actually where we're going to draw curtain for today's episode, this week's episode. And I want to appreciate the speakers who've spoken well. We have been able to address this topic on accessibility gadgets, the roles, and also the limitations. So thank you for putting out your thoughts on this. And I believe that our online viewers, those who are watching us live, and people who would later come to watch this, we definitely get value from this. And if you are a person with disability listening or watching this program, we want you to be encouraged. We are doing this program for us and for everyone, so that we have more, be able to sensitize people, and we are able to cope with living this life much better. Yes, it is not really what people think about disability. Disability is what you think of it. If you think positive of it, you will get better, and if you are negative, you will get worse. So, but when you see people speak about these topics, there are also people like you with disabilities. So I believe you're encouraged. Yeah, so thank you, Osaki, and also Afyon, for your time. Also, Freki, thank you so much. And I do wish us a wonderful weekend. If you have something to say to our online viewers, please let's summarize in a minute so that we can call it a day. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. What I would just say is just just take it easy with yourself. Like what Afyong said, adaptation. No matter how bad it is, I know some of us, our devices are already bad. Maybe we didn't have enough money to change it. While you are trying to see how you can manage it, look for another means. But don't use that one as a way of depression or giving yourself hard life. Just take it easy. Before you know it, there will be a miracle, there will be a way out for you to change that assistive devices. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Afyong, one word for our viewers.
All I will say is life goes on. Life goes on. It starts with a willingness to live. Once you have made that decision that, okay, this is not the end and I want to move forward. Believe me, when you come to that decision and you act in the manner that supports that decision, there's always a way. There is always a way. I tell you from experience, I'm not just coming here to do motivation and give a motivational speech. I am telling you from experience. Once you decide, I want to live and I want to go forward, there's always a way.
All right. Thank you. Where there is a will, there is a way. Yes. So we are not just trying to motivate you, but we are sharing from our experience, our everyday life experience. Yes. So thank you, all the speakers. Thank you for our online viewers. See you in our next episode. Bye.
This is Bold TV.